So today we're going to work on making three-dimensional origami style paper radial designs. And it's going to look something like this when you get done. You can see it's three-dimensional, it sticks out. We're using origami to make our shapes. And just a reminder that radial design is a way of organizing your materials around a central point. And it's often arranged symmetrically, meaning that it's even on both sides no matter which way you flip it. And it's going to be balanced, making it look like it's together and unified. So let's get started. So you're going to need a lot of different forms, origami forms to get started. I would just make a bunch of them. So for instance, don't know what the name of this type of form is, but we're going to make some of those. This is the samurai fold right here. And then you have the kite fold, and those are the three basic ones that I have. If you know more and you want to add more, origami is not my forte, so if you know some other types of folds, feel free to use those. But you're going to need to start with some squares. And I found that using Post-it notes, those come in 3x3 inch squares, so you can use Post-it notes if you have them. In your art kits, I gave you a lot of these sheets. These work great for getting some different patterns and designs. If you're going to use the paper in my pack, which I recommend you do, I'd save one that you don't use to glue it down to. So they work great for gluing it down. If you're in my 3D art class, you should have gotten at least 5 of those, so feel free to use those. If you want to make sure you have enough, you can fold the paper in half twice, and that will give you 3x3 inches because all those squares that I put in there were 6x6. And if you're in my 8th grade art class doing this, then you also got some 12x12 sheets, so you can make even more squares. But if you cut them, you'll have those 3x3 inch, same as the Post-it notes. And if you want to make some smaller ones, which I recommend doing, if you have a bunch of really small ones, they'll be 1.5 by 1.5 inch. And I know they're tiny, but they make you can make some really cute ones. Little teeny tiny ones, and those will help your designs as well. So you'll have 3x3 inch is this big, 1.5 by 1.5 is this big, so make a bunch. Also, if you have a piece of rectangle paper, to make that a square, all you need to do is just kind of fold the corner over. And you'll have a big piece hanging off the edge. But I'm just going to take that and cut it. When you open it up, you have a square. So you can use that to make some different types of shapes or different size squares if you need to as well with the construction paper or even the white drawing paper in your pack you can use. You gotta start out with a square first. Next, I'm going to show you how to assemble that. All right, so you have in front of you a square that I have folded into 8 different triangles because you need those lines to start making it look symmetrical for your radial design. And all I did is I took the square and I folded it in half one way, folded it in half the other way, I folded it diagonally this way, and I folded it diagonally the other way. And when you're done, you should have 8 equal triangles. I just want to quickly review how I made the origami forms to do that kite. All you have to do is fold it in half diagonally, open it up, and fold the corners to that center line. That makes that height to make this type of form. You are going to fold the paper in half. Then take the two corners until they line up with the very bottom. Press down. And the most tricky one is that little samurai. And I've attached a link in the description box on how to do this. So if you don't want to watch me and want to see somebody else do it, feel free. It's a good video. So you fold it diagonally one way. You fold it diagonally the other way. You're going to open it back up and fold it in half. And the tricky part is going to be, you're going to open it back up and then you just have to kind of jimmy rig it where you're folding it together like that, like a milk carton. It's like that on the bottom. And then you fold these little corners, little corners up. Like I said, I will have a YouTube video linked with how to make all those, but I made a lot of 3 by 3 inch, and then I made a lot of, 1.5 by 1.5 inch pieces. And you're welcome to glue those onto one of those 6 by 6 inch squares, or if you happen to have a 12 by 12 inch piece of paper, you can do that as well. The first thing I recommend before you start gluing these down is to come up with your design without gluing it down, and that way you can kind of see what you want to do. And I'm attaching lots of photos here how I played around. So I didn't glue anything, I just kind of placed them down, and you can see my examples popping up over the screen right now. But when you get the one you want to stay with, you're going to use some glue. I am using some liquid Elmer's glue. Some of you just have glue sticks. Those work fine as well. I do like the liquid glue a little bit better because it stays stuck a little bit better with the 3D things popping off. But you can use any type of glue that you have. When you're ready, just take that glue. You don't need to use the whole bottle, but put a little bit on there. And you want to use those little folds in the paper that you have already made. Kind of help you line up where you want to put everything. There's a back to mine. I have brown on the back. You can play around with which color looks best as your background as well. Set that back up for you. So I'm going to just take my glue, put that in. I'll probably speed this up for you just a second. And if you're using liquid glue, you might want to have your newspaper set underneath so it doesn't all over your table. And another thing that I like to do is sometimes I will put a heavy book on top for that first layer just to make sure it all stays stuck down on there. If you don't, you can just hold it down with your hand and wait for a second. But then I'm going to take my next pieces and I'm going to glue those down. So there you go. I'm finished, and this is on the 6 by 6 inch paper. And this one's on the 12 by 12. And don't copy mine, make your own. I can't wait to see what interesting ideas you guys can come up with. So have a good one. See you guys later.